Reddit, what's the worst gift you've ever received? I went on a cruise in the Caribbean and brought my dad back a bottle of spice rum with the spices in the bottle. A couple of months later, my dad regifted me the exact same bottle for my birthday. He gave me this whole spiel about where he found it and how special it was. I waited until he was done to remind him where he actually got it. My ex-wife's grandmother once gave this little toy video slot machine game that she got from the dollar store, because she knew I liked playing all them video games, when she handed it to me, and before I opened it, her words were, "Merry Christmas, you'll have to buy your own batteries for it." When I was 11 or 12 I got 3 separate cheap travel shaving kits from one Christmas gathering. I didn't have any facial hair or anything, so the third one was my worst gift ever. Haha, that reminds me, when my brother was 17 he got a really expensive electric shaver for Christmas from my dad. We all thought it was a joke because my brother has never had even the ghost of facial hair and he's half Asian, so it's likely to never come at all. It's been a few years since, and the shaver has never been used. At our holiday gift exchange in 2nd grade, I got a used Halloween magazine, all pages colored, crosswords and puzzles done. I had my mum out shopping the previous Saturday for cool Hot Wheels and a nice Barbie for the 2 lucky kids who got my gifts. 8th grade, I begged my mom to buy these fancy chocolates for the Secret Santa. We really couldn't afford it, but I was adamant and so she wanted to make me happy. Girl who bullied me got the chocolates. It was random draw, and threw them out in front of me because they would taste like my name. I was devastated and never told my mom. I was out of town for a few days for work and got a text from my wife as I was pulling into the neighborhood that there was a surprise for me waiting outside. I pulled up to see a gorgeous, fully restored 1957 Chevy 3100 sitting in my spot. I couldn't believe it. I'd been looking for a pickup and my wife knew I liked classic cars, but this was insane. Just as I got out of my car to check it out, my son's friend and his dad, who was coming to pick him up in his 57 Chevy, walked off my porch. My youngest came outside and said, "Daddy, do you like your surprise?" and pointed to a welcome home dad drawing he had taped to the door. I have never felt worse in my life for trying to play up a scribbled drawing as the best surprise ever. I can't say I didn't love his surprise and I definitely can't say it was a bad gift, but it definitely was the biggest misconception of all time. Haha. When I was around 12 years old, my grandfather, a wealthy man who had virtually nothing to do with me growing up, gave me a plastic outdoor doormat with Santa's face on it for Christmas. I'm glad it came with the receipt because I sure as sh took it back and got my $8.25. And for people asking, I mentioned his wealth, but given the lack of context it does kind of make it sound like I expected some extravagant gift from him due to his wealth, which isn't the case. I was pointing out that he was a man of means to emphasize that he wasn't trying to do what he could on a fixed income or something. To elaborate on him as a person, he divorced my grandmother when I was about 6, moved to another adjacent state, and pretty much vanished from everyone's lives. He barely had anything to do with his own kids either. He was an a-hole. I didn't buy Bitcoin with my $8.25 because this would have been 1994, and I was 12. And not some future reading mystic. No, it was not a flat sled. And no, there wasn't a deeper meaning. It was a doormat for your front door. A flat, plastic, forest green pad with plastic hoops latched into the flat part making the pattern of Santa, who was misshapen. It was from Dollar General. No, I don't think it makes me an a-hole that I was upset, as a 12-year-old, that my multiple boat owning millionaire grandfather showed up to Christmas dinner at my house one year with an unwrapped 10 plastic outdoor Santa doormat that he probably bought en route as my singular Christmas present. I'm sorry that I wasn't digging for apple cores in a dumpster for sustenance and am apparently too privileged to know how good I had it with my ugly Santa doormat. I posted this before. My grandmother gave me a pineapple wrapped in newspaper. She told me that if she were to use real gift wrapping paper, she would have to deduct the cost from the real gift. I don't remember what she got my brother that year, if it was the stereo, the Discman, or the safe, or which one of those. I got a little red plastic bucket. I do remember not being the favorite grandchild though. Received a digital picture frame for Christmas from my boyfriend at the time. 2 years into our relationship. Turned it on. and it had pictures of him and his ex loaded on it. Regifting fail. When I was about 14 I once had a boyfriend give me a bracelet with some sort of charm on it. When I noticed it had a name engraved on it that was very clearly not mine, he tried to claim it was a family heirloom and that was his grandma's name. That boy was so full of crap. Haha. His mom did give me a really nice gift basket full of lotions and stuff. It was a very short relationship. When I was 7, I was at Christmas at my dad's parents, my grandparents' house with my 2 cousins, who were of similar age to me. They both got fancy bikes. I got a knockoff Barbie, it was a doll that was similar to Barbie but not the name brand, in a package that still had the $5.99 price tag attached. My son received the worst gift ever from my wife's parents. My mill had bought both kids some chocolates and was gonna put $50 inside for them to pick out whatever they wanted. She wrapped my daughters and left my sons out for my Phil to do. Since he ignores most things people say, he ended up pocketing the $50 and eating the chocolates and putting the wrappers inside the box. The next morning my mill sees the unwrapped box with no cash and assumes the cash is inside. She wrapped the box of trash and gave that to my son for Christmas. I once got a really nice sweater from my dad. The only problem with it was a sweater that I had already bought and ordered. My dad actually intercepted my mail and found the sweater, repackaged it, and then gave it to me as a gift 3 weeks later. Thanks, Dad. Thanks for the gift of inconvenience. A pack of 3XL panties from my grandmother when I was, at best, a M-size 13-year-old girl. Bonus. Last winter I learned this same grandmother has given all the grandkids a $5 bill for Christmas every year for the past 20 some years except, of course, to me. On a class secret Santa, I received a mug from a classmate. It had those brown circles inside, which are left by tea. Also, the inside of it was scratched and I found a similar one later in a nearby grocery shop for about $1. I didn't even get some sweets or something with it, just the mug in a paper satchel. My grandmother got my 14-year-old brother an NSYNC CD. He was not into them at all. At the time he was really into R&B and rap. Apparently she went to some music store and asked the guy what kind of music 14-year-old boys liked, and for some reason the dude handed her an NSYNC CD. My brother is the most polite kid on the planet, so he thanked her and tried to put it away so he could return it. Nope, grandma grabbed it back from him and opened it up. His face got redder as she tore the plastic off. She was dancing to NSYNC and was like, wow, I can see why you like them so much, as I bit my tongue to keep from laughing. Got to hand it to my brother. He was super polite and thankful and never once let on that he was disappointed. And he was able to sell the CD to some girl he knew in school. I love my dad dearly, but one Christmas he got me the Eagles' Hell Freezes Over, which is I guess a live Eagles reunion concert. Throughout my life I had expressed zero interest in the Eagles. I don't hate them, per se. I just have no interest in them. So the gift was pretty baffling, but whatever. The very next Christmas, I go to open a small, DVD shaped package, and it is the exact same effing DVD. I thought it was a prank at first, but his earnest expression means he had literally no recollection of buying it for me the year before. So now I have 2 of these effing things that I can't throw away because they're gifts, and I know my dad meant well. When I was 10, a family friend asked what I wanted for Christmas. I was tactful enough to tell her, whatever, it doesn't matter. She said, what about Legos? I was like, wow, that would be great, thanks. She gave me a copy of Tiffany's Book of Table Manners. Apparently I did something to piss her off at dinner, still not sure what. My wife's grandparents didn't like me, possibly because we were living together before we got married. One Christmas, maybe the one we were engaged, I don't remember, they gave me a package marked to Ed, which is not my name. It held a large old-fashioned portfolio-sized wallet, you know, the kind about the size of a shoe, leather, with a large bison embossed on the front. The bison was anatomically correct and appeared to be having a personal moment. I was in a bowling league as a kid and we had a gift exchange. I helped my dad pick out something great to give and I wound up with something decent. A Polly Pocket. Another little girl opened hers up and someone actually wrapped up a 6-pack of Tic Tac and passed it off as a gift for the exchange. The little girl started to cry. My dad felt bad and had me trade her gift for mine. As a kid, I was selfish and like no, but he insisted and said he would make it up to me. Fine, I traded with her and she stopped crying and had a huge smile on her face. I don't remember if he ever made it up to me, but that's not important. He taught me a huge lesson and I'm forever grateful for it. My worst gift was also probably the one that taught me a valuable lesson. When I was a kid, probably 11 or 12, I borrowed the NES game Bases Loaded from a friend and subsequently lost it. My mom found out from his parents and confronted me about it, but I tried to pretend like I had no idea what the friend was talking about, that he was probably lying because he had lost it and didn't want to get in trouble. We lived in a really low income part of town and I remember that game being like $50, which was not easy for any of our families to throw down for a video game. I wake up Christmas morning and go directly to open up a box that looks like the size and shape of the new NES game I wanted. I open it up and it's a brand new copy of Bases Loaded. My mom looks at me and says, "You're going to take that over to Jason's later and apologize." That was my one and only big ticket gift of the year. Never lied about losing someone else's stuff after that, at least not around Christmas time. A pen, yearly pocket planner, and some post-it notes from my dad for Christmas when I was about 12. My sister, 10, meanwhile got a mountain bike. I was heartbroken and my mom, they were recently divorced, went apeshit on my dad for not getting us the same things. Dad's reasoning was that he didn't have enough money to buy us both new bikes. I did have a 10-speed that I won years previously and worked fine, and my sister was going to be outgrowing her bike soon. That reasoning didn't sit well with 12-year-old me, but in hindsight I can see the logic, but I'm still not 100% on board with the execution. Dad's now more aware of purchasing within a budget, but only after 1 year of telling teenage me that we probably wouldn't get much from him for Christmas because he wanted to buy a second road bike for himself. He also had a mountain bike at the time. Mom had the opposite problem of making the gifts my sister and I received equivalent down to the penny. She forced us to make our wish lists better when we didn't write down enough stuff, then told us we were greedy and that she couldn't buy us everything on our lists. The best worst Christmas. The year I wanted a stereo for my room and my sister wanted a Walkman. My sister opened up a brand new stereo while I opened up a Walkman. We both looked at each other, thanked mom, and asked if she'd mixed up the presents and if she'd mind if we switched. She got mad, started crying, and denied it, then angrily told us to open the other presents. Ends up she bought us both stereos and Walkman. It would be cool if she'd come into some money and wanted to spoil us, but nope. She bought way above her budget and used those gifts to regularly remind us that we cost her a lot of money and should be grateful. Air and rant. Sigh. There's a whole can of worms now open.